Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Redmen TV and your post-match reaction show after Liverpool were beaten down on the south coast by Brighton. Normally, I wouldn't be quite so relaxed and jovial about that fact, but we still sit here as Premier League champions in spite of that defeat, as Wayne Kerr so delightfully puts it. Simply, champions, Dan. That is still correct. It was a bit shit. It was a little bit frustrating, a story of wasted opportunities, I think, really. And again, normally when you sit here having lost any game of football, I'd be fucking fuming. And I'm a little bit annoyed. But even more so, given the fact we had the lead twice and chances to extend the lead on both occasions. But yeah, it is all, tempered by the fact that we've won the league. Tyron gets us going with a super chat. Says, losing is never nice, but is anyone really arsed? No. Some of the Fringe players, Elliott, Konate, Jones, might be playing themselves out of the team, though. Yeah, possibly. And that's the way to look at all this little run of games, the Guard of Honour games, if you like. And you could go back further and include Plymouth and possibly PSV if you really wanted to as well. And see them as auditions, opportunities for next season for those players that you touched upon there and some others as well to stake a claim to be in the manager's thoughts, and I'm not sure they really grabbed them, to be honest with you. But yeah, Chiesa falls into that bracket as well a little bit for me. I thought he was okay whilst he was on, but there's clearly a lack of fitness and rhythm there with him, and a lack of football, generally speaking. But yeah, there's just a few of the lads, you're right, who, if these are their chances, then they're not exactly taking them with both hands, and you do wonder what that means for their future. Because, yeah, I think there's a few underwhelming performances knocking around. And listen, it must be even harder for them because we're looking at some of the main lads, the big hitters. Some of them have been voted or nominated for Premier League Player of the Season, Premier League Young Player of the Season. Fulk Gravenberg with decent slate for what it's worth. We'll come on to the individuals later. But they're not as motivated. Their edge is gone. Their strive to win at all costs has gone a little bit because of there's nothing at stake anymore. So then when the other lads come in who don't have that and don't have rhythm, it might be quite difficult. All they're really doing is fighting for their future in certain senses, which feels massive, but it's nice to have a lot of things to fight for, I guess, is kind of the point. And yeah, we are, whimpering our way to the end of the season a little bit. I hope among all hopes that we can turn up next Sunday, because I think that occasion, Anfield, with the trophy lift to come at the end of it, that would be befitting to win that game of football and win it with a little bit of style as well. But yeah, we'll wait and see what that looks like. Prince Moschino, I've had this on the screen for a while. You don't have standards, embarrassing. I do, and I get the whole professional pride in performance element of it. I do, and I'm normally the biggest advocate of that in terms of I want Liverpool to win games of football all the time. And again, I've said this millions of times, but coming from my own sporting background, I'm constantly banging drum about these are professional, these are the one who are going to put in decent performances and show their true colours. And yeah, that's just how they've lived their lives to the nth degree. They've been professional and they won't want to let their standards drop. However, again, having said all of that, when the factors that make it important to win are removed, it's difficult to go the extra mile. And when you see a team like Brighton, who were absolutely dead set on getting something out of this game because they have got something to fight for, and plus they're playing as a champion, so there's extra motivation there too, it becomes difficult. And I think we've seen that tonight, last week against Arsenal, previously against Chelsea as well. This says champions, Liverpool, because that's what we are, which is nice. King KTZ says, we now know why Slot stuck with the plays he did. And yeah, there might be an element to that. And I think we've seen that again. There's been a few examples down the season where the fringe players, the lads on the periphery, have been given opportunities and haven't taken them. I always hark back to the Plymouth game. I think that was the line in the sand moment, really, for some of the lads, where it was in a period of season where it was just about to start getting really busy in terms of all three competitions were still up and running, and there was going to be lots of football coming and potentially lots of minutes to be spread around. And 4 or 5 of the lads who got an opportunity on that day didn't take it. And it's been referenced since by maybe Slot himself, or certainly reports about what Slot thought. And he did view that Plymouth game as that missed opportunity for some of them that we mentioned, because there were so many underwhelming performances on that day. Maxie Scott says Slot has let his standards drop. See, I can't quite get on board with that, because we've won the league, and clearly Slot sees it as these lads have committed so much of their energy and efforts to the season up until this point. They're deserving of this little downtime that they're having. They were in fucking Dubai for 5 days last week. They got back on Friday. Like, I don't know who expected. I said before the match, and it's all well and good being wise after the event, but it was always going to be tricky tonight, because they've trained twice. They've been out in the sun doing leaving parties left, right and centre, whether you agree with them or not. Slot himself has been away. Like, the preparation just hasn't been as bulletproof and as rigid, as regimented as it normally would be for a Premier League football match. And you're coming up against a team who've got tons of motivation. They're a very good side anyway. They're at home. Like, it was always going to be tricky. And whatever you think of Slot's thought process into why he's allowing the players such time off and has taken his eye off the ball when it comes to results, whether you agree with it or not, he's deemed fit and he saw it necessary that the best thing to do to get the best version of Liverpool next season, because this is pre-season -2, if you like, tonight, is to give them the time off. Maybe it's a little carrot at the end of next season to say, go and win me some silverware again. You'll have 10 days off. You know, maybe that's how he's playing it. We're not privy to that information. So it's difficult to make hard and fast judgments on it. But, yeah, listen, it would defeat the object just to send them away for a laugh without any sort of reward or sweetener to it. So you can only imagine, he said to him again, yeah, this is what happens when we win stuff, lads. Go and repeat the trick. I can't have the same level of anger. I'm sorry. Michaela Perkins, the moment where about 4 of them slides clear the ball and miss, it was comical. Yeah, there was it was very basketball-y, the game tonight, I thought. And again, I thought actually in moments we showed some high quality build-up play. It was just the finish. It was lacking once or twice. Salah's miss. What's happened to him, by the way? Like, it's interesting because he's, in one sense, his drop in form, I think he scored 1 in 10. His massive drop in form has come at the ideal time because the league's already wrapped up, so whatever. But from an individual point of view, when he's chasing records left, right and centre, his dramatic drop in form is horrendous news for him. But I'd rather the former because, you know, team and all that. I know, I can't believe Salah missed it as well. I mean, if only he realised he had a right foot. It was the simplest of right foot finishes I've ever seen. The left, there was always a danger of dragging it even further with the left, which is obviously how it went. Scott Clavish says, Slot has literally been on holiday. The players have come back from Dubai themselves. If anything mattered with these results, the standards would have been there, but these games don't. I agree. And I'm not saying people are wrong, by the way, for upholding standards and wanting Liverpool to win games of football. That in itself is a fine place to be. But I do struggle to tip over the balance of the edge and being fuming when we don't win these games of football, because ultimately they're irrelevant, and they're even more irrelevant now. Points tallies and like we're not going to get to 90. That was evident a little while ago. Yeah, it's just become of such little importance that it's hard to get properly angry and invested in. Just saying. And it's just my opinion as well. Marcus Ward says, not making a huge fuss of the result, but man could be used Verts passing in the final third. Also take the money for Quansah. And again, the Quansah point is that, listen, I'd take Verts, exactly this as well. I'd take Verts regardless of nice performance. I don't think you need evidence or any more of a sample size to see that Florian Verts would be an excellent addition to any squad in world football. I thought Szoboszlai was really good tonight. I know he's playing a slightly deeper role, more like a quarterback conducting thing. Some of his passing I thought was exceptional. But yeah, Florian Verts is wonderful. So yeah, please. As for Quansah, yeah, maybe. And I think this was another occasion where Quansah didn't really cover himself in glory, and it hasn't been his season now, I think it's fair to say. And he was obviously at fault, in inverted commas. He's the one playing him on side for the winner. It was tight, but he's the last man. He's the one furthest back, so it's on him, unfortunately. Yeah. Sig says, we are the champions of England. The current reports for Impong has passed his medical. Chill out and enjoy the party. I concur with that. Wholeheartedly, actually. Quanta was excellent, says Sarah. Okay, yeah, listen, I'm not denying, I'm not suggesting he had a bad game. I'm just saying this is another time where if Liverpool concede goals at times of season when he's on the pitch, it often feels like he's in the round the scene, the crime. I think Robertson's been guilty of that as well, for what it's worth. But it just so happens to be him a lot who's involved in a negative sense. He's the lad playing him on side tonight, as an example. There's a minor thing, granted, it's not an own goal. He's got a few own goals this season as well. He's had misplaced passes that have cost us too. But yeah, he tonight is the guy that plays him on side for the winner. It's as simple as that. I think Kostas was poor. Kwanzaa far better than Konate tonight. Yeah, I don't think Konate was great either, for what it's worth. Like, not at all. People are so negative, or not negative, they want to win and do better. We don't want to be... I mean, how can we be lame as Premier League champions? I take serious umbrage with that. I don't get that at all. Konate is down tool, says Baggio. I hope not, because that's really concerning. It's a fascinating little period coming up with Konate, because to this point as well, from Pat in earlier on, he wants 200k a week. Now, there's obviously reports that he is keen to get a decent all-wage hike, and there's obviously reports that Real Madrid are interested, and then add to that, there's reports that Liverpool are concerned around the fact that Real Madrid are interested and they don't want to repeat of the Trent trick, and Konate just walks away on a free next summer. So there's lots of things at play there. You have to have the money on the table from a football club, whether it be PSG, Real Madrid, whoever, in order to sell Konate. But as much as it pains me to say it, I think Liverpool would be wise to sell this summer. And Konate's boss. Let's say on his day, he's world class, world class, and his partnership with Van Dijk is the best in the Premier League for me. But yeah, we just can't afford to let another. What would you pay for Konate? £70 million footballer walk away for free next summer. It's just, we need to stop doing that, basically. He did, and we also discussed the fact he did that and the fact it wasn't very good. But yeah, that was also a negative thing that happened. If, forget words, we need a proper defensive midfield player. Yeah, I think you can have both, personally. Honestly, I'd be happy to sell Konate if we get a good bin, decent replacement. He's good, but he's not great. I think he is great, personally. But I also agree with the sentiment. But that decent replacement has to be... In fact, the decent is an understatement. It's got to be a top draw replacement for me. That's how good Konate is. Like, even Dean Howson wouldn't have sufficed. I like him a lot. But he's not Konate levels. If you're going to sell Konate, you better have somebody serious lined up to replace him. We lost so Milner can play in the Conference League next season. I'm all for that. I also want James Milner to get the Premier League appearance record. Hopefully he can do that soon. How can you limp over the line when you already cross? That's a good point. It's a good point, well presented as well. We're literally sat in the bar now, waiting for the others to finish at this point. That's how long ago we crossed the line. We've got the round in. Half the pints have gone flat. The food's cold. We're just waiting for the rest of them. So yeah, honestly, I guess we're not defending the title yet. Jesus. Calm, we're not playing like this next season. He's great with Van Dijk by his side. And play the young ones. Yeah, possibly. I think it has been a bit mixed. I did think we might see some more of the academy lads come into the fray, but apparently not. He's gone with like mixy-matchy squad lads with first team lads. And just lads that, you know, have got their eyes on the summer holidays already. And that's the consequence of it. You lose games of football. It's as simple as he, yeah. As Carragher and Konate, has he? I'm watching it, but I can't hear it, obviously. That feels unnecessary. Unless it's for the contract stuff and all those murmurings, then yeah, that's sound. If so, more power to Jamie Carragher in that case. I like this as well. But yeah, we are, like I say, at the party, ready to have it, and everybody else is literally getting into their cars, which is sound. Let's be honest. Let's crush Palace on Sunday and put on a performance. Crowd will be in fine form. McAllister back and Palace barely fit to stand up. Yeah, absolutely. And I must admit, I'll be honest, I wanted to go out in style with both Anfield games. Then when we didn't beat Arsenal, my attention immediately turned to Crystal Palace. Tonight was always going to be tricky and treacherous for me. Like, again, I said it right at the start of the night. Brighton are a good side. And they've got loads of things to be playing for still. They've still got a chance of getting into Europe. And we don't have any of those things. Our season's done and dusted, all over, bar the 180 minutes of football we have left. And yeah, now it's just 90. And now it's just one more game. And it's one more game that I would quite like us to win, because it is Palace, it is pre-trophy lift, it is at Anfield, it is going to be a party, it is going to be boss. And winning would just add a little bit of extra sweetness, a cherry on top of that particular cake, if you like. Wonderful. Right. I'm done. And this is the shortest I've ever done this show for lots of reasons. Mainly because it's late and I'm tired. But also, we lost. Look at me clipping the mic on already. We lost. And I don't want to talk about it too much. So instead, I'm going to go over to the board and we're going to talk about all the players, which is going to be just fucking loads of fun, isn't it? I pick up a player's face. You tell me where to put them from boss sound to your messing. This bit is important with you guys involved. The next bit, it's imperative that you get involved. Otherwise, I'm just a dickhead stood by a board with loads of players' faces on it, which, you know, ultimately I'm comfortable with, but I'd much rather you were there to join me. Let me just check I haven't missed anything. I might have missed that. I have missed that. Let's just quickly do that. You are not in the wrong chat. You're in exactly the right place you need to be. But stay there, because like I just said, without you, the whole thing's pointless. See you in a second.